The city breathes in low murmurs, neon lights trembling like distant stars caught in wet streets. Rain slides across asphalt in quiet silver streams, and every droplet carries a memory, a pulse, a whispered regret. He drives alone, the engine's low growl steady, familiar, like the heartbeat of a world he can control, yet somehow cannot command. His hands, large and sure, rest on the wheel as though the very leather might anchor his thoughts, though they drift, endlessly, to what he cannot change. Tonight is meant to be simple, ceremonial even, a dinner with the one he chose to call his future, a woman whose smile reflects ambition and loyalty in equal measure. He sees her sitting in the passenger seat, hair catching the dim light, and for a fleeting second, the world seems to pause. There is warmth there, the kind he wants to believe in, but beneath it, an undercurrent coils, subtle and familiar, tugging at his chest with a whisper of the past. He doesn't see her yet, the one whose memory hums beneath his skin, whose absence carved hollows he still cannot fill. The ex-wife who once carried his name, his world, and the promise of life inside her. She exists now only in shadows, in corners of rooms, in moments he thought he had erased. But life, he realizes, has a stubborn way of tracing circles back to the heart. And tonight, fate has drawn a line that he cannot escape. The restaurant is quiet, almost reverent, the hum of conversation distant and muffled. Candles flicker on tables like fragile sentinels guarding secrets, and the air smells of roasted herbs, wine, and something else, something that brushes against memory. He guides her to their table, unaware of the small presence moving between tables with gentle authority. The waitress's hands are careful, her movements elegant, but each step is punctuated by a heartbeat he cannot hear yet. She wears a smile practiced for strangers, a mask hiding the tremor of awareness, the life growing beneath her ribs, the sun that carries a piece of him he never fully acknowledged. He sits, smiles, orders, talks, and laughs, all the while unaware that the hands pouring water, setting plates, and drawing wine are those of a woman whose life he once held in his hands. Her eyes catch his for a fraction of a second, a flicker of recognition, a storm held in the quiet of her glance. And in that glance, unspoken stories unfold. Love, loss, betrayal, and the fragile resilience that humans carry in the marrow of their bones. He talks of power, of plans, of the future, and she listens, lips curved politely, heart pounding with a rhythm that mirrors the life she carries. It is ironic, cruel even, that he remains blind to the truth, that the universe folds in on itself to place them here, in this collision of past and present, and yet, in her quiet presence, there is a kind of mercy, the mercy of watching without shattering, of moving forward without confrontation, of loving a child while silently guarding the remnants of a love that was once theirs. The clink of silverware sounds loud in her ears, like the ticking of a clock counting down moments of inevitability. She breathes through the calm, steadying herself, wrapping the storm inside a smile as fragile as the candlelight. Outside, rain continues its gentle, relentless fall, and it mirrors the rhythm of what is to come, unrelenting, unstoppable, yet breathtakingly beautiful in its inevitability. He leans back, satisfied, unaware of the storm swirling quietly across the polished floor, and she stands, serene, holding secrets close to her chest, carrying a life that is both a reminder and a promise. And in the quiet moments between orders, between the laughter and the light, a truth hangs softly in the air. Life bends, twists, and surprises, but it also teaches patience, endurance, and the strange tender art of surviving with dignity. Even in the heart of shadow there is light. Even in the presence of pain there is growth. And tonight, as he sips wine and smiles at the woman beside him, she moves like a ghost of memory, like a guardian of what he cannot yet see, reminding the world that love, even when fractured, persists, endures, and whispers in the spaces between breaths. The soft murmur of the restaurant becomes almost hypnotic, a lull that belies the undercurrent of tension threading through the air. His laughter carries a weightless ease, but it is hollow against the echo of memory that clings to the corners of his mind. He does not notice the way the candlelight kisses her hair as she passes, how her silhouette seems to carry an almost sacred stillness, as if the world itself bends to keep her presence quiet, contained. She moves with a grace born of necessity, the grace of a woman who has learned to survive, to mask her heart in plain sight, to navigate the spaces between love and betrayal. Her hands brush against the porcelain plates, her fingertips careful, deliberate. Every movement is measured, restrained, and yet each carries a subtle tremor, a whisper of life growing quietly, defiantly, against the backdrop of a man who once thought he could command everything. She sees him, truly sees him, even as he remains oblivious. His strength, his arrogance, the calm surface he projects like glass. She knows the storms beneath, and she feels it all with a kind of quiet fury, tempered by a tenderness that even he, blind to the truth, once inspired in her. He leans forward, speaking animatedly to his fiancée, the words flowing easily, but there is an unconscious rhythm in his movements, a tapping of fingers against the table, a shifting of weight in the chair, that echoes the drumbeat of anticipation in her chest. She breathes softly, steadying herself, listening to the cadence of a life she once shared with him, listening to the man she once loved, and recognizing the ways he has changed, and yet remained the same. There is a strange beauty in this recognition, a melancholy sweetness that hums beneath the surface, threading through every glance and gesture. Outside, the rain has thickened, the patter against the windows now a steady percussion, a natural metronome to the unfolding drama. Streetlights smear through droplets, creating pools of golden light that shimmer and shift, much like the illusions of control and certainty that they all cling to. He does not see the reflection in the glass, the reflection of a man who cannot escape the echoes of his past, who cannot know that the future he carries in his arms, the child he has yet to acknowledge, walks among him in quiet dignity. She pauses at a table nearby, setting down a wine bottle with deliberate precision, and in that small pause, the room seems to contract. Her eyes meet his for just a heartbeat, and the world trembles slightly on its axis. There is no dramatic confrontation, no immediate recognition, only the quiet, almost unbearable intimacy of shared history lingering like smoke in the air. He smiles at her politely, an unthinking gesture, and she returns it with the calm mask of the present, while the past whispers underneath, insistent, demanding attention. She feels the life within her stir, a subtle movement that is both grounding and disarming. Every decision, every breath, every measured smile carries a weight she cannot fully articulate. She is both mother and observer, protector and witness, standing at the intersection of what was and what will be. And in that intersection, she finds a strange clarity, a clarity born not from power or control, but from acceptance. She understands that some forces are beyond influence, that some fates unfold with a precision that demands patience, that some truths reveal themselves in quiet moments rather than loud confrontations. He talks of plans, of ambitions, his voice low and steady, a river of authority that seems endless, unbroken. And yet, beneath the surface, there is a subtle unease, a faint tremor that he does not recognize in himself. There is a story he has yet to confront, a chapter that remains unfinished, and tonight, in the stillness between orders and laughter, the first pages of that chapter begin to turn. Her presence, calm and unassuming, becomes a silent mirror of his own contradictions. She carries strength beneath fragility, hope beneath sorrow, and in her eyes the quiet defiance of a woman who has endured more than he could ever know. Every gesture she makes is a testament to the life she protects, the love she once gave, and the resilience she embodies. And as she moves through the room, the soft swish of her dress and the muted clatter of dishes form a kind of soundtrack, subtle, hypnotic, and deeply human. He laughs, unaware, and the sound strikes her like a knife wrapped in velvet, familiar, yet foreign. She remembers nights filled with laughter like this, filled with warmth and a sense of invincibility that has long since faded. She remembers the promises made in whispered shadows, the intimacy of shared secrets, the fragility of a love that could not endure. And yet, she does not falter. She carries the past with grace, the present with courage, and the future, though unknown, with quiet determination. And somewhere between the flicker of candlelight and the gentle fall of rain, between the laughter of the man who cannot see her truth and the rhythm of her own guarded heartbeat, a subtle tension coils. It is not anger, not confrontation. It is something softer, deeper, the ache of memory, the persistence of life, and the whisper of hope that even amidst sorrow, love can exist in new forms, in quiet gestures, in unseen moments. The scent of roasted garlic and simmering wine hangs in the air, heavy yet comforting, like a memory pressing gently against the edges of consciousness. The restaurant feels suspended, a world apart from the chaos beyond its doors, and within it, time stretches, bends, and folds around them all. He talks, his words smooth and commanding, weaving plans and ambitions like threads through the dimly lit room. She listens, each syllable striking a chord that vibrates deep in her chest, a chord resonant with what was, what is, and what might yet be. Her hands move automatically, setting plates with careful precision, her fingers brushing the polished wood with a touch that belies the life she carries beneath. Each movement is a quiet defiance, a reminder that she still exists fully, wholly, and independently, that her heart, though scarred, beats on with resilience. She feels him before he sees her, the energy of him, the weight of his presence, and for a fleeting instant, her breath catches. There is a pull, magnetic and unavoidable, drawing her gaze to him, yet she does not allow it to linger too long. He leans forward, unaware, a laugh escaping him, and in that laugh, she hears echoes of their shared past, laughter that once tumbled freely between them, laughter that masked pain, loss, and the quiet erosion of trust. There is a sharp ache in her chest, subtle but insistent, reminding her that love leaves traces that cannot be washed away, no matter how much time passes. And yet, within that ache, there is also a strange warmth, a memory of what once was beautiful, fleeting, and real. The candlelight flickers across his face, highlighting angles and shadows that she knows well, each line and curve a testament to years of choices, power, and consequence. She sees beyond the surface, glimpses of vulnerability he cannot show, cracks hidden beneath the veneer of strength. And in that seeing, she feels both sorrow and a fragile kind of understanding, a recognition that the man who sits unaware before her is not the same man she once knew, and yet he carries pieces of the past that bind them in invisible threads. Her heartbeat quickens as he gestures, ordering a dish she knows he loves, a dish that once sparked small arguments and shared laughter in kitchens far removed from this one. The memory surfaces, bright and sharp, and she steadies herself against it, grounding her awareness in the present. The life within her stirs, subtle yet insistent, a tiny pulse that demands protection and reverence. Every step she takes, every word she utters to the diners around her, carries the weight of this dual existence, observer and guardian, witness and mother, both fully present and quietly apart. Outside, the rain intensifies, cascading down the windows in silver rivers, blurring the line between what is and what might be. Streetlights smear across the glass, long and molten, bending light into shapes that feel almost alive, like whispers of the past pressing gently against the present. It is as if the world itself conspires to remind them of the truths they cannot yet confront. Truths that will emerge not in dramatic confrontation, but in quiet, undeniable recognition. He shifts in his chair, glances toward her, and for a heartbeat, a flicker of recognition might have passed, a shadow of familiarity that goes unnoticed in his distracted focus on conversation and wine. She feels it, however, that small, almost imperceptible nudge of fate, and it sends a shiver through her chest. She smiles politely, keeping the storm contained, guarding the secret that could unravel everything, yet also carries within it the fragile seed of hope. There is a peculiar poetry to this arrangement, the collision of past and present, the unspoken tension, the dance of what is hidden and what cannot remain so. She moves between tables with grace, each step a study in controlled motion, each gesture an act of quiet courage. In her mind, she constructs scenarios, rehearses conversations that will never happen, imagines a world where he could see her, the life she carries, and the truths buried in silent years. But she knows that life is seldom so kind, that revelation arrives not as a gift, but as an inevitability. His fiancée laughs softly, unaware of the delicate tension weaving through the air. He reaches across the table, brushing her hand with a familiarity that is both casual and intimate, and she watches from a distance, noting the way he radiates confidence, strength, and unacknowledged vulnerability. There is a quiet ache in seeing the man she once loved invest himself fully in another, yet it is tempered by the fierce love she carries for the child growing inside her. It is a different kind of love, protective, enduring, silent, yet no less powerful. Time stretches, the restaurant a bubble of light, sound, and unspoken stories. Every gesture, every glance, every flicker of emotion is magnified in the space between them. And as she moves back toward the service station, she catches a glimpse of his eyes meeting hers for just a fraction of a second. It is fleeting, almost imperceptible, yet it leaves a mark, a quiet tremor in the stillness. And in that tremor, she feels a mixture of sorrow, longing, and the faintest shimmer of hope that the future, though unknown, might yet hold a reckoning, a recognition, and perhaps a fragile reconciliation of what was lost. The candlelight flickers again, shadows dancing across her face and across the polished floor. Every breath she takes is measured, every motion deliberate. She carries the weight of history and the promise of life within her, a duality that shapes her every step. And though he remains unaware, the universe has positioned them here, in a moment suspended between what is and what might be, a moment pregnant with quiet revelations, subtle truths, and the enduring, ineffable power of love, in all its forms, lost and found, hidden and enduring. The air grows heavier as the evening stretches, a quiet weight pressing into every corner of the room. He leans back, swirling his glass of wine, oblivious to the currents moving beneath the surface. The soft glow of the candles illuminates his face in golden pools, highlighting the contours of a man shaped by power, by control, by decisions he believes are final. Yet no fortress, no empire, no carefully constructed mask can shield him from the echoes of the past, echoes that glide silently across the polished floor, riding the rhythm of rain outside, brushing the edges of his consciousness with their insistent presence. She moves closer to their table, unnoticed, carrying the rhythm of her own heartbeat in the careful tilt of her head, the measured sway of her body. Every step is deliberate, a choreography born of years learning to inhabit spaces where the world might unravel at any moment. She sets a plate down with an elegance that belies the storm of emotion beneath her calm exterior. And in that quiet act, there is poetry, a testament to endurance, resilience, and the capacity to hold life, pain, and hope all at once. He laughs, a rich, commanding sound that fills the space between tables, and she flinches only slightly, the movement almost imperceptible. Memories rise like tides within her, shared dinners in sunlit kitchens, whispered conversations in the dark, the gentle brush of his hand against hers when the world outside seemed merciless. And yet she does not falter. She steadies herself with each breath, grounding the life within her, feeling the tiny insistent movements that are a reminder of continuity, of survival, of a love that exists beyond visibility or acknowledgement. For the first time tonight, he glances at her directly, really sees her, or at least glimpses something familiar in the lines of her face, the curve of her jaw, the soft focus of her eyes. It is fleeting, like a shadow crossing a window, easily dismissed if he does not linger on it. But she feels it, that brief recognition, that flicker of shared history that refuses to remain hidden. Her lips curve into the practiced smile of someone who has learned to carry truth lightly, yet her chest tightens with the gravity of what is unspoken. The restaurant hums around them, a distant backdrop to the tension woven in invisible threads. The clink of silverware, the soft shuffle of chairs, the low murmur of conversations, all of it fades into a kind of quiet accompaniment to the storm that moves beneath the calm surface of their lives. Every glance between them, every subtle shift in posture, carries meaning he cannot yet discern, a delicate foreshadowing of the revelation that waits patiently in the silence. She moves to refill water, and their eyes meet again, holding for just a heartbeat longer this time. There is recognition there, undeniable, yet veiled in politeness, a fragile acknowledgement that the past has not truly released him, nor has it released her. The life growing within her presses gently against her ribs, a rhythm that steadies and centers her. She is both anchored and suspended, a witness to the man she once loved, to the choices that shaped them, and to the life that continues quietly, insistently, within her. He talks of business, of plans, of a future meticulously constructed, unaware that the past has been sitting among them all along, quiet and patient. The irony is almost poetic. The man who believes he commands the world is blind to the delicate, enduring truths seated right in front of him. She watches the way he gestures, the way his eyes light up when he laughs, the subtle confidence that radiates from him, and for a moment she allows herself the faintest tenderness, a whisper of the love that once burned fiercely and without compromise. And yet, there is sorrow too, deep and persistent, threading through her chest like a muted violin. She has carried more than he can know. The quiet nights alone, the uncertainty of her body, the solitary shaping of a life that contains both his child and her unspoken grief.